Welcome back to the Christian Capitalist, everybody. I'm Rich Sanders, your host. We're so glad to be joined today by Carly and Dani here at Caring and Sharing in South Walton County and celebrating the Christmas season through a whole lot of generosity. Before we get to the story of Carly, Dani, and Caring and Sharing, though, I want to just remind you all to like, share, repost, follow us on social media. As you watch this episode, if you enjoy it, please feel free to share it with others. And you can always find out more about our movement at christiancapitalist.life. But for now, we need to talk about caring and sharing. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
And Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you. Merry Christmas.
So I had to laugh. We're recording this on the second to last Thursday of the month of December. And when Dani and I were here earlier in the week in this room, we were planning on having a whole bunch of bags behind us that were ready to give to the poor and needy of Walton County. They were full of Christmas presents and part of the Angel Tree Project. As you can see, the room is now empty. So it's a good sign, not only that things are working smoothly, but that this time of year, the services that you provide are really desperately in need, so that those can enjoy Christmas.
Yes, our elves have been busy over here. We have about 700 children signed up for our Angel Tree program. It's grown every year for the last 6 years. And our volunteers downstairs are wrapping up with pickup today. And then tomorrow we set up a pop-up shop. So any families who missed the sign up in October, which is easy to do because in October you're not quite thinking about Christmas yet, or have had a life change, they can come shop our pop-up shop. It's all new gifts, and they can get the items they need before Christmas next week.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Really
I'm going to time out. Oh, all right. Well, let's start at the big picture. What is Caring and Sharing? And what kind of work do y'all do here?
So Caring and Sharing has been serving Walton County residents for 30 years. And what we do is provide crisis relief. So we do that through food, financial assistance, which is past due rent, past due utilities, counseling, case management, and connection to area resources. So Dani is one of our case managers, and she works with the families who come in seeking our services. And our main goal is that when families in crisis come to us, we can have them leave feeling hopeful about the next steps. Knowing where to go, knowing what to do, having that check for their landlord, that sort of thing. Wow. Yeah, we're ending the year serving 1,100 families. That is the most families families a month. So every single month, 1,100 local families are coming in. That's the most we've ever served in our community. We saw a big jump from September to October, and then naturally November and December are our busiest months with the holidays. Right. But with those families, 50% of them actually live in the south end of the county. And then the other 50% is split between Freeport and Defuniak.
So for those, because we have a national audience of people, for those who don't know Walton County, can you describe it a little bit? Dani, I'm going to flip it over to you because I think you live at the north end of the county. Tell folks what that means.
So the north end of the county is about 45 minutes away from where we're currently located here in South Walton. So while we're all in the same county, there's a 45-minute separation and no public transportation. But because we live down here on the beach, a lot of people think that there's not a need in Santa Rosa Beach. But like she said, 50% of our clients are right here on the south end. So although it's a little bit more rural, 45 minutes away, and those clients do need our services, even down here at the beach, we have an equal amount of people that are needing services. Families just kind of struggling to get by, especially right now.
Yeah, exactly. So what, just to give everybody a sense of the scope of that, 1,100 families, what's the total population of Walton County, give or take? You know?
Oh, that's a great question. I do not know.
I don't either.
I can look it up. You want to look it up real quick?
No, I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure I have looked this up.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be based on 2023 numbers, but I think we've got somewhere around 100,000 people here full time, which is not a lot. I mean, when you think about the number of people who are in kind of crisis situation, that's a significant chunk of our population. And y'all know this is a community with dramatically different levels of economic, and financial, ability.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the families we're serving are those families who are here making this community what it is. Working in the restaurants, the grocery stores, the condos, making sure that people vacationing here are having the experience they desire. And a lot of times what we see is one little thing happens and it throws them off.
One little thing like a government shutdown.
A government shutdown, which was not at all a little thing. But even outside of that, a flat tire, a sick family member, a child with an injury, different things like that, that one unexpected expense causes some families to spiral because they're living paycheck to paycheck. We rely on about 150 volunteers a week to help with our services. So we have 10 employees that are paid staff members, but then our volunteers do the other things. We operate a thrift store. So volunteers help us sort donations. They ring up people in the thrift store. They man the boutique. They put out donations. And then they also work the food line with us, making sure that food is getting loaded into client cars, checking clients in, packing the food bags, organizing donations, and then all of the third-party events and other things we do to bring in funds to make this work possible. Volunteers help us with as well.
It's a busy place.
Yes.
It is a very busy place.
It's and it sounds like it's getting busier literally day by day.
It is.
Yeah.
Every single day,
Yes.
I think we push our facilities to the max with people, supplies, and just general goings on.
Parking spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. And as the members of our audience know, I'm a pretty busy guy. I've got a pretty full calendar. We've been talking about this, recording this episode here on December, 18th, 19th?
Oh,
December 18th.
18th. Yeah.
Is it the 18th?
It's around there.
None of us know what day it is.
But we started talking about this in October.
We did.
Because y'all have, as Dani is an Army veteran, I'm a Navy veteran, as we used to say in the service, it's a robust ops tempo. You just run it.
Yeah.
And God bless you in that work. Why do you think things have gotten so busy? I mean, the organization's been here, what did you say, 30 years?
30 years, yeah. I think it's a combination of things. In 2020, the leadership here changed in February of that year, and then the pandemic happened. So we were able to kind of shut down, reevaluate what we were offering. We never stopped giving services, but we closed down the thrift store and kind of reevaluated how we serve the community. And since then, we have just been growing like crazy. So I think it's because of the economy, the state of the world, but also the way that we work with clients, the way that we share the work that we're doing. I think that our clients leave here and they tell their family, they tell their neighbors, they tell their coworkers about the services we offer. It's gotten really expensive to live in Walton County. We kind of saw a boom during the pandemic. Everyone wanted to come to the beach. So people had been living and renting homes for a while, and suddenly their landlord said, oh, well, I can get, $2,000 more a month for this.
Yep.
Right.
And they've been living there 10 years.
Right.
So seeing some of that and just the cost of groceries, the cost of gas, the growth of this community, I think all of that has played a role in this. What else do you see?
I think Carly's being a little modest too. I think we have a lot of people that have a lot of service hearts across the street, and Carly is one. She busts her booty and is out here fundraising for us literally all the time. We need a lot of help getting to where it is that we need to be able to support the community. And Carly, no fail, makes sure that we have what we need every single time. I'm not really sure how you pull it off, but I think it's like she said, to our point, we are out here. We are fundraising. We are doing events. We are helping the community. We are figuring out ways to get resources to our clients that are 45 minutes away. We're now going to be doing monthly pop-ups, and we're going to take that responsibility to pack up, load up, and bring it to them in case they can't get down here. It's a lot of hard work on all of us, but I think we see the need, and we have leadership that kind of pushes us to stay connected into that. So I think that is a big part of it too.
I love that, leadership. And so what were the leaders who started caring and sharing thinking about 30 years ago? It sounded like a much different community in 1995.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So the way Caring and Sharing was started was through the South Walton Ministerial Alliance. Churches were offering services from their homes, and they got together and they saw the need for one central location to send people for support. The churches are very busy doing church things, which giving to the community and supporting their neighbors in need is one of those things. But they don't really have the capacity to meet the needs of these folks like we do.
Right.
Like Dani is a trained case manager. She just graduated with her master's degree, but she is going to not only support that person, but she's going to make sure they have what they need, connect them to other resources, follow up with them. And it's just a different realm, right? We are here to serve the community in this specific way. Churches have 1,000 other things going on.
Right.
So they formed Caring and Sharing, and now the majority of churches in our area donate to us monthly to ensure our work continues. We encourage our local churches to send people to us, not just people needing help, but members of their congregation to serve with us. The majority of our volunteers come from the local churches, but it really has turned into this beautiful relationship 30 years later where they help start us and are still supporting us in a lot of different ways now.
I love that. I love that. Because after all, the whole concept of the Christian capitalist is the more we make, the more we give.
Right.
Yes.
And that is not church specific. So I love it when churches get together to try and accomplish that mission, because you're exactly right. The mission of a church is much different than the mission of Caring and Sharing.
Correct.
And so does that kind of relationship from the South Walton Ministerial Association, does that continue today? Because churches in our community have changed a lot too.
Yeah.
Opening, closing, growing, shrinking. Right?
Yeah. So the majority of churches in the area have supported us the entire time we've been around.
That's right.
Obviously, there are new churches who come into the community. They find a way to immediately get involved with us. And yes, the relationships change year to year. But overall, our largest supporters month after month, when I say the majority of churches give to us monthly, that is not an exaggeration. They are just as invested in this work as anybody else, which is really special.
All right, so let's talk religion for a minute. Why? They're just as invested as everybody else. Why do you think that is?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Well,
Why?
you had a great way of expressing it. These churches are very invested in our success, and they give to us monthly. Why do you think they do that?
Well, I think loving your neighbor as yourself is a huge principle, right?
Yeah. It just feels good sometimes to say it out loud.
Yes, and I think, Caring and Sharing, we often talk about our neighbors in need. And it's very much supporting people in a way that I think serves a lot of purposes, right? Whether it's your faith or your just the innate human need to help.
I think this is a good time for something out of your book.
Yes. Oh, here.
Actually, this just reminded me of something. Hold on. Do you mind?
No, please.
Okay. So you actually wrote in your book here, The Christian Capitalist, as for those who in the present age are rich, command them not to be haughty or to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches, but rather on God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. They are to do good, to be rich in good works, generous and ready to share, thus storing up for themselves the treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of the life that really is life. I think that sums up your question really well, actually.
Amen.
Yeah.
And Carly, I love the word that you just used. Thank you, Dani.
Yeah.
I love that the word you just used, innate. Yeah. So part of the philosophy, the ethic of the Christian capitalist is that one of the reasons we work so hard is that we're made in God's image. And the first thing we know about him is that he worked, right? He built all of creation, including us, in 6 days and then rested. He made us in his image, so we know we are built to work. You two are great examples of that. There's Noah building the ark. Yeah. There's David and Solomon building the temple, and there's you two serving the poor and needy.
I was going to say, it is a much larger team.
It is not.
Yes. We would not be able to do it without everyone across the street.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. We're going to get to that in just a second.
Okay.
But we also know we're made in God's image to give. So when you're talking about the innate need to help, animals help each other in nature, but it's usually because it's like the mother bird in the nest or the school of fish out there where you've got the little fish and the bigger fish, right? I'm not a biologist. So. But we, among all of the animals in God's kingdom, are unique in that we help others because even though we may have no relationship with them whatsoever, we experience joy in giving. I saw it just this morning. A man came in and asked for a bicycle. Your staff brought him a bicycle from out back, and you could hear his joy from upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wonderful. So there's joy in receiving, and this is the point of what you just read, Dani. But there's more, in my experience, more joy in giving.
Yeah.
How do y'all see that?
I mean, we live in the most generous community that I've ever experienced. I cannot imagine doing this work anywhere else. I always say that there is a certain amount of faith that comes with being the leader of the organization, because there are times where I'm like, what can I sell to make sure that we don't have to cut our assistance budget, or what sort of sale can we have in the thrift store to bring in as much revenue possible real quick? And it never fails that I go check the mailbox and there is a generous gift from someone that I did not know was coming. Every single time I start to doubt or worry, I go check our P.O. box and there is a gift. And it never fails to bring tears to my eyes, because those people don't know what our bank account looks like, but they know the work that we're doing and they trust us with that gift. And I think it's been really cool over the last 6 years. That's how long I've been here, to constantly see that and to be able to say, I know that this will be okay.
Isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that too?
I do. And I think this work requires a lot of faith. Like she said, we lean into the faith that God will provide at all times with the work that we do, whether it's bring the people here that need the help and let them find us so that we can give them the care that they need. Help us, God, to have the funds that we need brought into our organization so that we can continue to provide. I think that is the why. And sure enough, like she said, every time that your faith kind of gets a little shaky, it's just like I said, like just keep showing up, doing the right thing, and God will continue to provide for the people that are doing the work.
Indeed.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
And God continues to provide for those who are giving as well.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, this will be, I've kind of lost track. This is going to be something like our 53rd episode.
Wow.
Time and time again, I hear people say, I was broke, I was unemployed,
Yep.
I had $1 in my wallet or a $20 bill, and God said, give it away. Someone needs it more than you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's faith on your end as the recipient. It's going to come from somewhere. Even something silly, y'all. This morning we were looking for a black tablecloth to cover the cardboard box that our Christmas decoration sits on, and Carly went over to the corner and went, ta-da! It's like, it's Hollywood sometimes. Isn't it the way it works?
Yes.
But those people who give their last dollar, time and time again, I can, without a doubt, maybe even two hands worth of people have said, I gave away my last dollar. Within minutes, there was a call, a check in the mail. When I answered the door, there's somebody presenting an opportunity, because it all comes down to trust. Carly, I see that you have some artwork. One of my favorite friends tattooed.
Dani.
I'm sorry, Dani. I see that you have a tattoo. One of my neighbors and friends is so devout and so faithful. She has on her foot a tattoo of a sparrow, because Jesus told the apostles and the people on the mountain, look at the birds of the air. God takes care of them. They don't worry. How much more will he take care of you? And so she put that bird on her foot to remind us God's always going to take care of me. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
And I love that y'all are able to live that out every day. Now, that's no way to build a building.
Speaking of faith,
The contractor's going to be like, I'm not going to start work and just hope that a check's going to arrive.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the easels behind us and the diagrams you have.
Yeah. So in July of 2023, we purchased the building that we are sitting in now. It's right across the street from the location we've been in for 30 years. And this is not at all, we want a new building. This is absolutely, we need additional space. We are bursting at the seams across the street. If you have ever come over there, it's hard to park. It's hard to drop off a donation. It's hard to do anything in that parking lot. So we bought this building and it will become our assistance hub. So this is a rendering of what that will look like when we are done. We hope to break ground at some point in 2026.
Great.
It's a $5 million.
That's just a couple of weeks away.
I know.
Let's go.
I know. I wish it was going to be January 2026. But it's a $5 million campaign over 5 years. And what it will allow us to do is revamp this building because it needs a lot of work, and then also renovate the building across the street to better serve our operations. We are getting to the point where the work is harder than it needs to be because we don't have the space we need to be efficient. Mm-hmm. So it's harder to have big volunteer groups because our pantry is the size of a shoebox. Mm-hmm. We're storing food in climate controlled sheds. I ran into someone yesterday and they're like, I tried to come drop off a donation and I couldn't get in your parking lot because we had assistance. We had a sale in the thrift store. We had our produce truck and we had our, 30 volunteers here plus our staff. So this beautiful building will be our assistance hub. Our case managers will actually have offices in there. Right now, our case management area is a wide open space with 2 chairs for a waiting room. Yeah. We have 1,100 families coming in and out of our building. That doesn't work in that space anymore. So this allows us to create some space so that people, when they come in for the first time, can be comfortable. They can go back into a private office and discuss their needs with the case manager instead of in the lobby with everyone listening. Mm-hmm. It'll allow us to bring food directly off the truck into the pantry without having to unload it by hand. And we'll do a drive-through that'll go around the back. So it is really going to be a game changer for us. Yeah, because you see when you were unloading your equipment across the street, I was like, oh goodness, there's so many cars coming in and out.
Hey, at least there wasn't an 18-wheeler blocking.
You're right, not today.
Like was on Tuesday.
Right? So yes, I was going to say not
let's
today.
Talk about why is there an 18-wheeler coming to y'all every few days?
It comes every other week, and it's our USDA food delivery. We are a Feeding the Gulf Coast pantry through Feeding America, and they deliver to us twice a month. And they're our largest provider of food.
I think what it takes to be a case manager is kind of that servant's heart and that call to serve. I've noticed that a lot of people that do this type of work might have a history or have some skin in the game, and they understand a little bit of what the clients are going through that they're helping, which really makes a difference when you know what that feels like, you know what that looks like. It's easier to kind of connect in. So I think you're going to find a lot of case managers that are very empathetic, have that servant's heart, really have that call to help others.
Well, and what I love what you said about case management, Dani, is at an organizational level. Mm-hmm. We're not just distributing, that we get to know the people who are here in need.
Yeah.
Right.
They're really good at setting boundaries, which is helpful, right? Because we are not here to give a handout. We are here to help in a time of crisis to ensure that you can continue working, you can continue taking care of your family, those sort of things, which is very much why I am the fundraiser. I make sure they have the money they need. Because if it was me down there, I would just say, take it all, Exactly. So Dani, Carla, and Morgan are all very good about setting boundaries, working with people through things, making sure we're giving the appropriate resources and time.
Empowering them.
And empowering them, exactly.
Like I just told a client yesterday, I believe in you. I have seen you for 2 years and you continue showing up and I see you and you've got this. Just building those relationships.
Well, and that's the word I was just going to say. Relationships are so key.
Yes.
The reason I think the South Walton churches formed this and the reason that y'all are as vibrant as you are is love. Caring and sharing is an expression of love. Yeah. You can't love your neighbor if you don't know your neighbor.
Right.
Right. That's why one of my favorite stories in scripture is the Good Samaritan. I'm a retired lawyer, so I love lawyer jokes and making fun of lawyers. And so this lawyer is being smart aleck and tries to, Luke tells us, justify himself to Jesus. When Jesus says, love your neighbor, he's like, well, who's my neighbor? And that's when Jesus tells the Good Samaritan story. Right? And going the extra mile and caring and sharing for your neighbor is what this organization is all about. Yeah. Why we are here. So tell us who supports caring and sharing. You're out there fundraising. You've got hundreds of volunteers.
Yes.
Where are these people coming from, and what the kind of things do they tell you why they're here and spend their talent, time, and treasure?
We have people from all over. So people who live here full-time, people who live here part-time, snowbirds. A lot of our volunteers do live in the south end of the county. They're mostly retired folks who are looking for something to do with their time and are used to, high pressure jobs or a busy schedule. So coming here kind of allows them to create a different network and put their time and talent and treasure to work. But in addition to that, the volunteers are a huge part of our operation and a huge part of why we're able to do what we do. But then the financial piece of that, it's not only churches, it's individuals, it's local foundations, it's large businesses, it is thrift store sales. We do 2 fashion shows every year. So we do a spring and fall fashion show. And our Dani models and our volunteers and staff model clothing that's been donated to the thrift store. So, and we set up an on-site boutique.
Okay, cool.
We set up an on-site boutique. It's at the Hilton Sandestin, and that's one of our largest fundraisers. We also do a wine dinner in the early fall, and then a bunch of third-party events throughout the year.
What does it take to keep the organization running on an annual basis? What's your budget?
So our budget for 2025 was $1.5 million. Okay. When I started in 2020, it was $600,000.
Wow!
So that gives you an idea of how quickly we're going.
Tripled in 5 years.
Yes, exactly. And then we have the capital campaign on top of that. So
what does it mean, Carly? That, because when we sat down, I was jaw dropping that y'all caring and sharing have increased the number of people you serve by almost 50%. Really, since I last saw you in October. We could talk about the environmental factors that led to that. How are y'all responding to that?
So I think why we're able to do that is because we're not willing to say no. We're not willing to tell anybody who comes and asks for help, sorry, we don't have food. Sorry, we can't do that. Sorry, we're at our capacity. Our team is not willing to do that. We talk about it from time to time. At what point do we stop? Right? Because if you asked us 2 years ago if we could serve 1,100 families, we would say no. How would we ever do that? But the team is constantly adjusting in order to do that. So we don't have a waiting list. Sure, we might run out of financial assistance 2 weeks into the month, but we're still able to provide food. We're still able to provide guidance and support and hope. So I think that's why we keep growing is because we refuse to say that's enough.
And adjusting. As Carly so genteelly said, our staff keeps adjusting.
Yeah.
What's it like to adjust to 50% more people in a month?
Adjusting to 50% more people a month is really hard, but I'm thankful for our team because somehow every single time things get really busy, it might not always feel like it, but we kind of lean into each other because we all understand that there is no way that any one section of this organization can run without the other. It cannot happen. They do nice goodies for us. We got coffee and some gift cards. It's little morale boosting things because it is really hard actually to see that many more people. And we just hired our 3rd case manager. So really it was 2 of us with volunteers and then 2 directors kind of keeping everything together. But we do it and it's hard, but I think it's doable because we lead with love. And you're right. When you are the givers, you receive a lot too. And the love and gratitude that we receive from our clients sometimes is enough fuel to make it worth it. But then it goes to leadership again. There's really hard days where sometimes you're like, this is too hard. I can't do this. But then we lean in. We know each other now. We work well under pressure. Like, hey, are you good? Take a break. That's kind of the adjusting, looking out for not just our clients, but for each other too, because it is hard work, you know?
And thank goodness now you have another case manager on board.
But this is, once again, she's modest. She goes out and fundraises so that we have to raise the money to pay for, more case managers, but she saw a need and we don't go without. Once again, I don't know how it happens, but now we have a 3rd case manager. And personally, I notice a difference immediately. It's already helped take a little bit of the weight off. It just...
There is an ancient precedence for this that I'll mention to y'all, and you may have already discussed it, whether it's at a board meeting or out there doing fundraising. But in Acts of the Apostles, Peter and some of the other apostles who stayed in Judea, who stayed around Jerusalem, said, we're going to start a community based on caring and sharing. We're going to start a community based on love. And they set up right outside of Jerusalem, probably near the Mount of Olives, where they were so literally passionate before the crucifixion and the resurrection. And they built this community of early believers of Jesus. And everything was contributed and everything was distributed and everybody loved it. And it continued to grow until it got too big. And people started to complain because things were getting distributed unevenly. And so Peter said, it is not for us, meaning him and the other apostles who had all been through Pentecost and were now ready to preach the gospel. It's not for us to wait on tables. We need help. And so that's where the first deacons came from. Stephen and 6 others were ordained to be deacons and literally be what we would call today extenders of disability. So I think at some point we need to get you 7 case managers.
I know the goal is to keep growing, but again,
Right?
that's where this project comes in.
Yep.
Dani is just moving into an office for the first time in 2.5 years. She has been she has been working at a shared workspace the entire time she's been with us.
In the center.
I'm giving
Yeah.
you knuckles because not only is that difficult for you to give case management advice and counseling and all that, imagine it's also awkward for people who are coming here literally hat in hand.
In crisis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we get into this new building, we'll have 3 case manager offices and then 3 upstairs offices to kind of continue growing our team.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Speaking of time, talent, and treasure, we've covered time and all the volunteers down there and the treasure, right, through all the different fundraising activities that you talked about. What about talent? Is there any particular kind of volunteer that you need sitting here in December of 2025, like a retired social worker who could volunteer?
helpful.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you have the time to give to us, we want you.
Yeah.
There's
We'll take your talent.
Yes.
there is no background specifically that we want, but we love when people want to spend their days with us giving back, and we have a job for everyone, regardless of what your history is. On our board, we try and make sure we have an attorney, an accountant, all those spaces filled, but really in the day-to-day here, what is most helpful to us is people who are going to love the clients the way that we do, with no judgment and being willing to adjust like you did when you came up here and there are no gifts. We don't have a table. We're using tubs. Like, you know what I mean? Like people who can be flexible with us and just kind of roll with us as we figure this work out as we grow quickly. That is what we're looking for.
I love that. All right. So speaking of contributions of time, talent, and treasure, people contribute treasure all the time. The way I met Dani back in February was literally I had things to donate and couldn't find a place to donate them. We knew the weather was going to be cold the next day or that weekend. We had ponchos and sleeping bags.
Blankets.
Couldn't give them away, literally, until we found Dani. But even then, I went into, I don't even know what y'all call that room, the sorting room. There were a couple guys back there with like a mountain of stuff.
That's a scary place.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, it's a scary place.
My big thing was I don't want it to end up in that mountain because it may not get distributed until next year.
Yep.
So having said that, the thrift store sells things that people donate.
Yeah.
And tell us about the thrift store.
Yeah, so the thrift store is our largest monthly donor. Not only do the community shops there, but our clients shop there. They can get a voucher for clothing once a quarter. And, if they're homeless and moving into a new home, we can provide them with furniture, dishes, the basics to kind of get by. But yes, everything in the thrift store is donated by the community. Our volunteers sort and price it and put it out on the floor. It's, as we grew, we did talk about like, what would it look like if we just got rid of the thrift store? And all of us were like, first of all, who's replacing that income? Right. Secondly, it's its own community. Yeah. The volunteers, the shoppers, we have seniors who come in and shop several days a week because I think that's their social interaction. It is, and we sell everything: clothing, furniture, small appliances, decor, jewelry, anything you think of, you can find in that store.
So what's the new thrift store going to look like at the end of the capital campaign?
So if you've been across the street, that space is a little bit rough. It's been there for 30 years and it needs a little bit of love. So what it's going to look like is, it might have matching flooring. It'll have additional restrooms. It'll have actual fitting rooms.
A guy playing piano in the corner.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. We're going to just spread out a little bit. Allow us to have more retail space, a better drop-off experience, a better sorting room experience. We joke that the sorting room is scary, but it is scary. And we need a better space so that the sorting is more efficient and easier to keep up with.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's literally the clothing.
Well,
the clothing is up to the ceiling. Especially this time of year, everyone's getting ready for the influx of gifts and they have time off, so they're going through their things at home, and we are just absolutely packed across the street. But we don't want to stop, right? We don't want to say, okay, we're not taking donations right now because it's up to the ceiling, because people will find somewhere else to donate, and we rely heavily on the donations we get.
Right on.
But I think also that's a byproduct of Carly being out here talking about our organization so much too. People get excited about us and they want to help and they believe in us. And so now instead of taking their stuff to maybe other thrift stores around town, they're hearing us out here. They're seeing our fundraisers. They know somebody that we helped and they're bringing their stuff to us, which is wonderful. But like she said, it's coming in a little bit faster than
drinking from the fire hydrant.
Right.
So let me ask you a question then along that line, both of y'all. Peter and the apostles outside of Jerusalem built their community, and it was based on contributions and distribution and love. But they did not exist in a vacuum. The Jews were oppressing them, right? That's where Paul came from. The Jews were oppressing them. The Romans were an oppressive empire, right? They had a lot going on in that little community. I couldn't help but notice the other day after you and I met to kind of scout out this location, right across the street is Habitat for Humanity and a retail store. Literally less than a mile away is a Goodwill, right? That to me was an indication as a citizen of the county that we have a lot more need than we can possibly fill with one organization, even one that's busting at the seams. But that also there's an opportunity for cooperation as opposed to competition. But tell me about that. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we pride ourselves on is our partnerships. So we work with a Restore, we work with Point Washington Medical Clinic, we work with Children's Volunteer Health Network, St. Vincent de Paul, the Health Department. All of these organizations together are what make our community great, right? Our ability to refer our clients elsewhere for services we don't provide is key, and it really gets them the help they need. We had a lady come in the other day, and our Carla and Dani were in a meeting, and she came to us because she knew we'd be able to help her. She had a broken foot and her cast was bothering her, and she was supposed to start her new job that day, and she was in tears, and we knew immediately where to send her. And I called Point Washington and I said, she's on her way. They said, okay, we'll get her as soon as she gets here. And the lady she kept apologizing, saying, I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'm trying. And I said, you don't need to apologize to me.
Yeah.
And when you go to the medical clinic, they're going to take good care of you. Yeah. But knowing that we can send her there and she'll get the care she needs with no judgment and no long way. You know what I mean? Like they're going to do their best. Those partnerships are vital to our work.
It makes me tear up a little bit too, because our clients know that they're safe to come here to get help when they don't know where to go. There will be times where I just don't know where to go. I don't know where to go, but I know what I need. And like she said, we weren't even there, but still, we jump in and we get people connected to where it is that they need to be.
What a resource.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sitting here thinking about this in particular with someone with a foot that's bothering them on their way to work. Are y'all 24/7? Because it feels like you're 24/7.
It does feel like
And you're like, you're telling us, dude.
I know. We're not. We do assistance Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 2. As we grow and explore what it looks like to operate in this space, we hope to expand those hours a little bit. But 24/7 work in this realm would be really challenging. Our case managers
trust me, that wasn't an invitation.
Right.
That was a way to set boundaries. I mean, you have to just so you can pause and breathe.
But
right?
it really is. We say we do assistance Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 2. Every hour, every second of the day that we're here, people are coming in asking for help. And our case managers are so gracious and they help outside of those assistance hours. But it very much is all the time needs, like every day.
Jesus said, we'll always have the poor.
That's true. Yeah.
So there will always be demand for your services.
Yeah.
What are some success stories that you've seen?
Well, just like the guy I was talking about yesterday that I gave Knuckles to, I originally met him and he was living in the car with his 4-year-old son working at Sonic. The mother was not a part of the picture, and he slept with his child in the car, and he made it to work every day, and his work was gracious with him, and we helped him get into housing. This was back in 2023. A little bit of life happened. It's really hard to find housing with how the jobs pay around here. So he was having a hard time. He ended up losing the housing, but he came back yesterday again after a year and found another house. And now he's a manager at McDonald's. And now him and his son, we're going to help him get We gave him a resource there's an organization in the community that gives away beds to anyone under 18. The beds, the pillows, the sheets, the frame, all of that. And then we'll help him with the bed for the house. So even though he's continuously seeing obstacles, he's showing up and he's coming back to us like, listen, I know you helped me before, but I really need your help right now. And you got to weigh it out, but okay, we see you. He just continuously is showing up, but he's coming back to us. I know what I need. How do I get there?
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Yeah. And that he trusts in y'all to be able to help him.
And we're just helping him fight. He says, my dad wasn't here. My mom was a drug addict. And I want to fight for my son. I want more for we want to help you. Like, those are the success stories. They're showing up. They don't know what they need, but they trust us enough. They feel safe enough to come over here and say, like you said, your hand out, not even a handout, your hat's out. Like, I need help right now, and I trust you.
That takes a lot.
It does, but they know we believe in them and that it's kind and that they're going to be welcomed. And if it's not me or Carla, they're going to be welcomed with the same response from anyone. So,
because don't you think that's a great point, Dani? Carly, don't you think that woman who was here with the hurt foot, who kept apologizing, is kind of symbolic of how many of the 1,100 people you serve feel like maybe a little ashamed?
Yeah.
Certainly humble, and probably not, what's the right word? Not fully able to articulate how much need they have.
Yep. I just, that situation was just so interesting to me because the very next day I broke my foot. And my experience was so different from her experience. And I cannot get that out of my head, right? Like how we had the same kind of experience, but how she struggled so much to receive care when I have health insurance. So I went right to the doctor.
In a car,
and it was in my car. And my husband, you know what I mean? Like that to me is something I can't get out of my head, is how some of us, things are so easy. And the other people who are trying so hard to do the right thing and be a contributing citizen of this community, it's 10 times harder for them to do that.
Yes. And this is exactly why that set of verses that Dani read at the outset is so important for everybody, right? When you have a blessing like health insurance, car, husband, and health care, you appreciate that. And then you share it with others, right? Yeah. Which is exactly what you did. But, it's funny. I tell people all the time because there's a whole theology out there for the last 15, 20 years called the prosperity gospel. People say, if I do what God wants me to do, I'm going to get rich. And I say, that may be the case, but that's not just because God doesn't want you to sit around and count your money. You have to help people with what you make, right? The more you make, the more you give. And part of that is just telling people and reminding them, getting in a car, going to the doctor, using your insurance card, those are blessings.
Well, and the richness isn't just about the money, right? It's about the feelings, it's about the things, the people, the other gifts that you're given as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So as we draw to a close, because I am looking at Dani's watch and we're getting to that point, what do you anticipate the future looking like here? I mean, we talked about the building, but what's the right way to say this? What does success look like for y'all? Do you ultimately hope that success for you will be serving less people?
I think that's the goal of any nonprofit, right? Is to go out of business. It'd be great if one day we didn't have to be here. We'd love to serve less people, but I don't know that that's the reality. Yeah. Hopefully the growth slows down a little bit, right? Because I don't know how sustainable it is to grow like we have for the last 6 years. But I think what success looks like is going deeper with case management and counseling. Yeah. Being able to spend more time one-on-one with these families, helping them get out of the cycle, helping them through the crisis. That's been hard to do because for a long time, we've had 2 case managers serving hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families. Now that we have 3, it feels a little tiny bit lighter, but imagine when we have 5. Right. What that looks like.
Right. So we want relationships.
Exactly. Yeah. So we want to keep doing the work that we're doing, but we want to deepen that part of it.
And I suppose for you as a case manager, success looks like more people that are able to stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what she says, just more people and more time to maybe individualize caseloads where these are your people and you walk them through until they get to where they need to be. Mind you, they can come in whenever they need us, and we're going to help get them there. But, maybe the ability to spend a little bit more one-on-one time.
Right.
I
love that.
I think we do a really good job now with what we have. But
So we've had the angel tree. The angel tree pop-up is coming tomorrow. It's Christmas. By the time most people are seeing this, it'll be the new year. What is the first big thing we have coming up in 2026?
Let's see. We have the fashion show. March 29th is our fashion show. We do our year planning in January because the fall's so busy for us. So we're going to jump into setting some really strong goals for the year ahead. I always tell the team, if we can do it better than the year before, I'm happy. And we tend to do that. But we have our fashion show in March. We'll have our wine dinner in August. We will have our fall fashion show in September. Early next year, we'll have an annual report that shares all the data from the year before. So we'll have our 2025 annual report by the end of February.
It goes like this. Right?
Yes, exactly. Every year we have some pretty impressive numbers. So that's something to look out for. But
that's great. And how about you? What's coming up in the new year?
I go where she goes. So it's going to be the same thing.
That's awesome.
More of the same, but not with the holidays. We'll be past the holidays. Yep. But typically the first part of the year, we're still a little bit high. And then as tourism picks up here, our numbers dip a little tiny bit. And then in the fall, they'll go back up. So
for us in the case management, I just thought of, we are, like I said, once per month now, we have committed to going to the north end of the county, which is not as easy as it sounds because we have to bring everything that's here up there. We committed to once a month, bringing our case management, our case managers, and food and financial assistance up to the north end of the county. So our first one will be February. So that's pretty big. I'm excited. And we offer educational classes for our clients one time per month as well.
Oh, that's great.
We incentivize, we give them lunch and we give them a $20 gas card. But once again, we're helping them empower. These aren't just any classes. This is budgeting classes, emergency preparedness, all these things where if you don't come from that and that isn't taught to you, let's give you some new skills. Let's give you some new skill sets. Let's give you some new things to think about. How do we get ourselves out of this situation? Because right now benefits are a little iffy. How do we get it to where we can generate more income, reduce your expenses, So we do classes. So we're empowering, we're expanding, we're going up north. We got a new Sprinter van, which is so exciting.
St. Joe gave us a grant for a Sprinter van.
All right.
Yes.
So it helps us carry some supplies north of the bay.
So that's big for us in our section.
That's great. All right. Well, so speaking of St. Joe Foundation and giving you the van, our kind of signature question on the podcast is based on the book. And we've talked about it all throughout our time together. But the whole notion of the more we make, the more we give is based on this good news of hard work and generous giving to the poor and needy. What does it mean to y'all when you hear that phrase, the Christian capitalist? Do you see it in your donors and volunteers? Do you see it in the people who come to you for service? Can you tell us a little bit about that as we conclude?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, that's our unofficial theme at Caring and Sharing, right? Like, we work really hard and we know that the community is going to be very generous to reward not only that work, but to help us support the community. So I think it goes hand in hand with us. And I think our entire team is really made up of hardworking people who care greatly about other people. And that's what makes us successful. So
I love that. Dani?
I think it's like I told you yesterday, what's in there and kind of God and all, it's woven through everything that we do, whether it's the client coming to us or the work that we're doing with the client or the work that we're doing with each other to keep each other strong, the connections that we're making, the resource. I think it's woven through everything that we do.
I love that. God bless you both for all the hard work
Thank
you're doing.
you for giving us the opportunity.
You're welcome, especially here at Christmas time, where we celebrate God's love for us through Jesus. And thank you all for joining us on the Christian Capitalist Podcast today. Like, share, follow, repost, whatever it is you can do on social media to keep spreading the message. And as always, you can find out more about our movement at ChristianCapitalist.life. I'm Rich Sanders with the Christian Capitalist Podcast. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.